I'm gonna give you. You know what? That's Wanda. You've probably seen lots of shorts of her. But I'm gonna give you a quick tour of my life, maybe some of my art, my woodworking, a little bit of everything. So stick around. All right. So this is the front room. It's wintertime, so lots of these plants have kind of laid dormant, I guess. I'm kind of new to being a plant parent, so I'm winging it. Couldn't tell you what all these are. But that one is crazy how well it does. And it gets super, super long. I had to actually tie it up to the ceiling. I don't know if you can see that. But, so first thing, the Wizard of Oz tin. Actually, when I bought this house, I was going through the attic and I found that along with another piece. That is a photo a really good buddy of mine took, and we traded some art for it. That is a piece that I did, oh man, if I were to guess, I'd say 15 years ago. I've always been kind of obsessed with robots. So my woodworking company, I say company, that makes it sound like there's a lot of us. It's just me. It's called The Wooden Robot. You can look it up online. Just some fun little stuff. That's like a fence post left over. I turned into a little ghost. More plants and stuff. That typewriter, another item I found in this house. This house was rented to a bunch of college kids, I believe, over the last 10, 12 years. And then I bought the place, and it kind of looked like they just kind of grabbed their clothes and left. So when I moved in, there was all kinds of things, and I'll point out what they left over the tour. But they left a bunch of stuff, which kind of worked out in my favor, like this typewriter, which I think is kind of cool. I don't think it's worth it, you know, anything, but it's just neat looking. My fiance, soon to be wife, and I took a little pottery class. I'd never thrown pottery. I think that's the right term for it. And man, is it difficult, but man, is it fun. So here's another one of my crazy plants, and this one gets longer and longer every year, it seems like. And this was actually the very first, I know it looks horrible, very first plant I got. Fun mirror. That's some of my daughter's artwork. Don't mind the cobwebs and dust. Sometimes I get busy and lazy. But that's some of my daughter's artwork. She did probably, I don't know, seems like about 5 years ago. She's almost 20 now. So that is a gift from my fiance. A gift from my daughter. Yes, I can juggle. Maybe I'll shoot a video of me juggling one day. I'm not good at it, but I can do it. More pottery. These are some old, boy, I bet you I made these 30 years ago. But they're little journals with some art that I did on them. And then I really liked the art. And I actually ended up getting those tattooed. Oh, I don't know where the other, there's two more of a rhinoceros and an elephant. This is a print that I made of me and my fiance. We're at a festival that's called Bourbon and Beyond. And we were taking all kinds of fun, silly pictures. And I really like that one, just that kind of fisheye lens looking down on both of us. And she's got this kind of cool look. that, and no one else around really knows what's going on. I don't know, it's a fun picture. Wooden box that I made. More mushroom art. Here's a laser print of some skateboarding stuff. I love skateboarding. I've been skateboarding since I was like 13 maybe. And I'm 54 now. So I still go out when my body allows. Here's was a bowl. And when I was turning it, it exploded. So I just kind of cut it in half, and it just sits on the shelf as decoration. This is all scrap pieces that I glued together and made somewhat of a cityscape, if you will. I still need to frame it, but it looks pretty cool. More pottery. I dropped some practice inlay stuff, unicorn inlay. That's I think it's called Yellow Heart and Maple. Let's see. There is a linoleum cut print that my daughter made. I keep pushing her to do more art because she's super talented. Here's one of her mushroom drawings. There is a guitar that I wanted to learn how to play, but I do not know how to play. This is another one of those journals that I made many years ago. I mean, like I said, 30 years ago. I was definitely in my early 20s. Yet again, this is another, I know this is like cobalt glass or something special like that, but I found like 6 of those bottles when I moved into this place. More pottery. The bench that everything is sitting on here was the very first bench I ever made. This chair with the blankets on it, doesn't look great with all these blankets on it, is the very first piece of furniture I bought as an adult when I moved out of my house from my mom's, and it's been with me ever since. And yes, I still skateboard. These are my two. This is a cruising board, so it's literally, I take Wanda out on runs, and then that's a street setup. I don't do so much of that anymore. And then in my wood shop, I keep my park skateboard. So here's some more photos. Gosh, that's a tough spot. Old skateboarding photos, prints. Yeah, that's more of my daughter's work. That was during Black Lives Matter. That 2019 era. Another piece of that cobalt glass. Some more knick-knacky, fun, weird stuff. More of my daughter's mushroom art and just some of her art. She got into, that is needlepoint, I think is what it's called. More photos of skateboarding. There is Mr. David Bowie himself. Let me come around here. Oh, I guess actually this shelf for the skateboards, I made that. Just some more items. Really cool clock. That is something I made. Did a little wood burning, little robot. That is something my daughter made me. Speaking of, that is my daughter with her cat Poe that I actually have now. More of my daughter's work. A little more of her work. We're gonna spin around. Oh, I've got more stuff over here. So that's my son's robot. Another one of those bottles. Another plant That plant's probably not going to make it. Another piece of my work. Some collected work from fellow artists. More of the cobalt. Some books. Over here, let's see, we'll go do quick kitchen. There's the other tin print popsicle that found in this house. They're just really, really cool. Wish there were more, but that was it. So out here is the backyard. We'll throw a ball to Wanda real quick. Oh, sorry, I put my hand right over top of it. Here you go. Hey, hey. She could do that all day long. So, this is my old workshop. I kind of outgrew it. I worked out of that for 5 years, I'd say. And then ended up getting big enough jobs that I outgrew it. And I got another place. I'll give you a tour of that at some point. Here is a spice rack that I made. It's all different types of wood. It's really just scrap wood that I threw together. We'll go in here. There is I kind of got into trying to do portraits. I don't think I'm very good at it, but this was probably 2014. Shoot, it might even have a date on it, doesn't it? I started doing that. There's Wanda protecting us from people walking down her street. So this is, I'd say when I was probably 21, 22, I wanted to be a tattoo artist. So I was practicing my line work and shading and all that sort of stuff. I never did do it, but this is a painting that I started probably 10 years ago, 10, maybe 12 years ago. I still need to finish it, but I like it. Come over here. There's a cool, I think it's called decoupage of my kiddos. Fun little crypto poster. More of my daughter's work. She's kind of a badass. And my son does art too, but he just only does it ever so often. So here's some more skateboarding, pictures, photos. That's a piece that I did that's kind of unfinished. I just threw it together. More of my daughters. So this is a fun one right here. So when my daughter was, I'm gonna say 2 or 3 years old, her mom and I were each holding one of her hands, and she was kind of swinging between us. I know all parents have probably done that with their kid, and so she took a jump and yanked her elbow out of socket. And I think they call it nanny's elbow, something like that. So when we went to the ER, my daughter was afraid to go get the x-ray without me. So I was able to go in there with her and hold her hand while she was getting the x-ray. I thought that was super cool, and I insisted that we got the print or the picture of the x-ray, and I've had it ever since. So that's probably, I guess, 17 years ago. There's another piece of her work. And my son, I said he's a talented artist, or he has that artist brain. There's a piece of his work that he did when he was probably, I don't know, 6 years old, it seems like. And then there's a piece of my scrap art that I make from the shop when I have leftover pieces. More of my scrap art work, which is I think it's called a Hanzo mask. It's like a Japanese samurai mask done over top of these random scrap pieces of wood all glued together and put together on this frame. More art that was given to me. This is a fun one too. It's my daughter's kind of mixed media called Dum Dum, and it's all done on the wrappers from Dum Dum suckers. That's another one that my daughter did for me. There's let's see, this top corner is me and my daughter and my mom, and that's my daughter and I, and then the bottom is my daughter and I. And over here, just kind of a cool print that I liked. That is one of my favorite artists, Shag, Josh Agel, I think is his name, and his nickname is Shag. I was doing a craft fair, and this lady was maybe 2 or 3 booths down from me, had these really cool pieces, so I bought something from her. Another one of my scrap art pieces with the inlay that, you know, I practice doing all the time because it's kind of fun. This is a big piece from my old roommate that he said I could have because he didn't want to move it and carry it anymore. I've got another piece of his work in my bedroom that we'll see here shortly. So this is not the fallopian tubes. That's actually a animal skull drawing that I did with a mandala background. Here's more work from my daughter and son. My daughter did the dog and my son did the picture of me. Yes, I have a gap in my teeth. That is a painting I did from, I don't know how long ago, but that was one of my dogs that I absolutely loved. Here's a little bitty shelf that I made, a ornament of my fiance and myself. Let's go into the next couple rooms. Oh, actually, that is one of my coffee table that I made, which is, I'm not a big fan of the, what's it called, epoxy, where they do the river tables. So instead I made these stitches to go through on this river table. So I've got these, the bow ties to keep this split from cracking more. I don't know, it's just kind of a cool piece. I was super happy with. So let's move on down the road. That's kind of an awkward shelf that's in this little transition spot that is kind of filled with knickknacks and tallywhacks and give a dog a bone and who knows what else. Books. Gosh, I don't even remember what all is on this shelf. I pass it every day and I just couldn't tell you. So, little sculptures, Chewbacca, Chewie. I mean, it's just, it's filled. This is my world, man. This is my world of art, which I love. I made a rule a million years ago that I could pick 10 things in my life to keep, put the rest away, try to live a simpler life. And art was one of the things I made sure I'd keep. That's a piece I made a long, long time ago. I had an old little wood shop in the basement. I was your typical old man with his, 4 or 5 tools in the basement. And I took one of the kids' stuffed animals and mounted it to this plaque. So it's kind of like that hunter, but it's a, tiger sort of thing. We'll go into my bedroom. Not that there's much to it, but that painting right there is my old roommate's. Yet again, he didn't want to take it with him anywhere, which is cool because that means I got it. So, this is, yet again, I was trying to do this portrait, real life drawing stuff a long time ago. Let's see if I can see the date on there. Yeah, 2015. So, 11 years ago, I was trying to teach myself how to do real life. It was all right. I don't feel I was very good at it, but this is my, I don't know, I'll keep all the stuff that my fiance gives me and stuff like that. So, let's see. More of my scrap art. It's kind of dark in here, so, but it is a bedroom, which is what it should be. So this piece, I know this is kind of a funny one, but for some reason my parents had this when I was a child. It's the first painting and like piece of art I remember as a kid. And so I bet I was in my early 20s, and my mom had this sitting in her basement, just kind of leaned up against the wall. And I said, what are you going to do with that? You can't get rid of this. She said, you can have it. And so it's literally one of those nostalgic pieces that I have had. It's been part of my life completely. So, okay, so this is my studio where I do kind of computer work and whatnot. And I have a laser right there that I use for my woodworking stuff, but I keep it in the house because my wood shop is literally just caked with dust, and I don't want that thing getting caked with dust and dying. But this used to be my son's bedroom. And when my son was little, he was obsessed with scary clowns. I know that sounds bizarre. So he wanted me to do a picture or a painting of a scary clown on his wall. So I decided to do that. And what I did is I did it behind the closet door. So we keep the closet door closed like that. And you'd walk into the room and be like, hey, what's that red ball behind that door? And then when you'd go to open it, So, I don't know, kind of silly, goofy, but my son really liked it. So that's yet again, another one of those trying portrait stuff, my son, that I did. Just some art that I've hung up over the years and whatever. There's some caricatures of the kids. That's a drawing of my fiance that is, like I said, I'm not good at doing that stuff. There's a hot chick with tattoos. I don't know, more sketches, doodles, art, a little yoga painting drawing thing, some wooden boxes that I've made. Let's see, they unsnap like this. This slides up. I'm trying to sell them to the liquor, companies. I do some stuff for some of the liquor bourbon world. So there's my business card. So take a gander, shoot me a text, go to my website. Here's a bowl that I made. I don't really do too much wood turning anymore, but there's magnets, coasters. These are what they call tasting boards. So let's see if I can, I've got one of the glasses that they use. So they, will fill this with glasses, and they put all their different types of bourbon or whatever. And then this slot here holds a card that sits behind each one and tells you what they are. So I made a couple distilleries now these tasting flight boards for them, and they're really fun to make. I bet I've made probably 2,000 of them. So more storage of books and who knows what. This was gonna be a mandala tiger, lion type thing on the wall, but I just, I don't know, I got busy with life, you know. More caricatures. My fiance and I are writing a book, and it's gonna be an illustrated book. So there is this is a piece I'm working on for a friend of mine who is a tattoo artist, and he and I have been buddies. Gosh, 30 plus years. I couldn't even tell you. And he's done quite a few tattoos on me, and he wants me to do a piece for the front of his house. So this is half of it, and then there's a kind of an opposite Japanese mask that goes on the other side with all these coils of the snake body around it, and it's going all around the numbers of his house. So it's framing in the his address. That's what it's called. But it's a piece I'm working on. It'll happen eventually. That is one of the pieces that I've been doing recently. So that's the one of the monkeys from The Wizard of Oz, painted and then done with laser. This was my first kind of laser experiment. I don't know if it's showing up very well, but it's a bunch of giraffes. I do the painting on the back and make the frame and everything, and then laser etch the photos or whatever I want in it. These are a couple things that I'm just kind of working on. Some more silly stuff. Get off my porch, you little sheets. Some Halloween stuff. More skateboarding, because I love skateboarding. I believe that's Jason Jesse. I'm not for sure. But for you youngins out there, you won't know who that is. I met Spider-Man when I was probably, I don't know, I bet you I was 19 there. I was going through Target. He was standing there signing autographs, and I just happened to be wearing a Punisher t-shirt, and he called me over. So that was a quick, fun little tour of my place. So this is my first real video for YouTube. And if you like what you saw, please subscribe. You know, I'm gonna turn this camera around so I can talk to you.